Hey, this is Pamela, your boundary coach, and let's talk boundaries, shall we? Today, I'm going to talk to you about the difference between being a victim and being in the hood. Victimhood. There's so many times when we don't understand the difference. So I want you to kind of sit back, relax, and get your pen and paper because you're really going to want to take some notes on this. And I want to give you some information that I got from my book. It's called Triangulation. Triangulation, How to Break Free from Toxic Relationships. This is my latest book. And in this book, I help you to understand what it means to be a victim, how we play the role of victim, and how we also can find ourselves in the victimhood. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. So let's talk about the difference between being a victim and being in victimhood. When you think about 9/11, that was a situation where it was devastating for the entire world, especially here in the United States, because we were the ones that were attacked. But the bombing in 9/11 and all the people that were killed because of that, the families, the people that survived, that were injured, all that, they were victims. We all became victims here in this country, and actually all over the country, all over the world, because there was a susceptibility to the attacks that we were not prepared for. So we all therefore became victims. And that's understandable. And when you're a victim to a crime, you're a victim to molestation, incest, or burglary, or a car theft, a rape, anything like that. When you are a victim of that, then you are considered a victim. And when you're a victim, you do what you need to do in order to heal from that. Does that mean there won't be triggers? Because it is trauma. There will be triggers. But also, from a healthy mindset, we know that in order to get through something from being a victim, that we've got to move forward, we have to heal, and we have to do that work. So that's kind of giving you an idea of what a victim is. But when I talk about victimhood, that's when we stay in a certain position and we wallow in that, and we expect someone else to relieve us of the pain or the work that has to be done in order to heal from that. And there are people who hold on to victimhood for a really long time because it positions them in a place where other people are offending for them. And so that's what I talk about in my book, Triangulation, and it's how to break free from toxic relationships. As I go through the drama triangle. The drama triangle is a dysfunctional model of behavior that was created by Dr. Stephen Cartman back in 1968. And it truly outlined what happens in dysfunctional relationships, whether we're the dysfunction or someone else is the dysfunction. We somehow find ourselves wrapped up like a spider wrapping up a insect in his web. We find ourselves wrapped up into the chaos and the drama and the dysfunction that someone else has placed on us. Sometimes it's innocent, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's because we're so used to pleasing people that we forget about ourselves and we are trying to please them, and we're the one that ends up with the short end of the stick. And it's not always immediate, sometimes it's long term and how it happens. So when you think about victimhood, victimhood is when you find yourself in a place that you want to blame other people for your circumstances and try to get someone else to fix your circumstances when you're capable of doing that yourself. One of the things about the positions within the drama triangle, you've got three positions. You've got the persecutor, you've got the victim, and you've got the rescuer. And it all comes up in a triangle, an inverted triangle. It's inverted because it's dysfunctional, but it shows how these different behavioral patterns, the dysfunctional behavioral patterns, play out in our lives on a regular basis. Every time I tell somebody about this or they've read this book, they say, oh my God, I had no idea that I was being pulled into this position. Sometimes they say, I had no idea I was even in that position, and they had placed themselves in that position. And it could be because they're persecuting someone else. They're blaming someone else for the position that they're in, and it's really not their problem. That's when you find yourself in victimhood. So let me give you a couple examples of some excuses that people make, because we all make excuses and we have a tendency to fall within the victim position of the drama triangle quite innocently. It's just something we're taught when we're younger. Remember the times when someone would hit you or something would break in your house, and you'd always say, I didn't do it, he did it. Or you'd always say, oh, she did it, or he did it, or I didn't do it, right? I don't know how that happened, right? That's an excuse that we're using, that we're trying to place blame on somebody else. Or or you hear people say, well, I can't help it, that's just the way I am. That's a victim mentality. It's in victimhood, and it's really saying that you can't change who you are. Everybody can change who they are. They just have to understand who they are. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Johari Window, but it's a 4-quadrant model that helps you to understand who you are. It's a model for self-awareness and increasing your own level of self-awareness. Now, there are 4 positions within this quadrant.
There's the open area, the blind spot, the hidden area, and the unknown. As you can see in the open area, these are things that are known to you, but also known about you to others. Underneath, you got that hidden area. Those are things that are known to you, but they're unknown to other people, things about you. And then over on the upper right, you got that blind spot. It's unknown to you, but it's known to others. And then in the bottom of the right corner, it's unknown, which means it's unknown to you and it's unknown to everyone else.
So the Johari window is pretty key as far as increasing your level of self-awareness, because there are things about you that you aren't even aware of and other people are. And that's what the Johari window helps you to identify. So if I'm stepping on your toes right now with these excuses, then I'm glad. I'm glad, because this is increasing your level of self-awareness, and it's things that people know about you that you didn't even know. So that's one example. Here's the other example. No one ever supports me. That one right there is such a victim statement, because you are standing right in the middle of victimhood. You are saying that you can't fend for yourself and someone else needs to do it for you. No one supports you. That is truly a statement that's made in the position of the victim. And what that person is looking for someone to do to come and rescue them. And you know who will? The rescuer in the rescuer position will come and rescue them. On the other hand, the persecutor will condemn them for making that comment so bad that that person feels bad for even saying or even feeling that way. And that's not the purpose. Whenever you make a statement that's an excuse, my role here is just to make sure you understand that it's an excuse and you're increasing your level of self-awareness. So what do you do about that? That's a good question, and I'm going to share that with you in just a few minutes. And I'm going to share it through journal prompts that you can answer for yourself. But I'm going to give you some examples too of how you can do this. But the reason I want to do this is because journaling is going to help to increase your level of self-awareness. And as a journaling practitioner, I've been doing this for 30 years. And I can tell you that there are different journaling styles that can help you to identify who you are, the things that you need to know about yourself that other people know about you. Also, the things, as indicated in the Johari window, things that you don't know about yourself and the other people, they don't know either. So when you use different journaling styles, then you will find out how to identify the things in your life that you really need to know about yourself that you were never aware of. Incidentally, I want you to click the link also, because it's a place where you can go and register for my Rites of Passage. It's a 6-week virtual journaling course that I'm doing starting September 15th. And as you take a look at that, you will see the different journaling styles that I'm going to be sharing. And we're going to be working through different scenarios to help you to know that, wow, I had no idea that I did these things, or that I allowed these things, or that I found myself stuck in these areas. Whenever we give an excuse, it's because we're finding ourselves stuck in a particular area. All right, let me give you another example. If I can put my glasses on. Another example is I always get the short end of the stick. So when you make this statement, what response are you looking for? Probably going to be cricket, or it's going to be someone coming to rescue you with some rescuing words, or they're gonna try to help you to get the long end of the stick, right? In other words, they're doing it for you and you're not doing it for yourself. So that's just another one that's an excuse. It also places you in victimhood. Here's another one. Another one is not my fault. They made me do it. Doesn't that sound like somebody, a kid in the neighborhood, right? Everybody's playing in the neighborhood and something breaks and you were part of that and you just say, they made me do it. Like you didn't have a mind of your own, like you couldn't make your own decisions. Now, if you were being a people pleaser, trying to fit in with the crowd, then that's another issue that needs to be addressed. And that can be addressed and resolved through your journaling and through a different journaling style. Pretty interesting, huh? Yep. Okay, so what's another one? I never get any opportunities like other people do. Well, my question is, why not? Why is it that you don't get opportunities like other people do? What is it that they're doing? Because that's what you want to do. You want to figure out what is it that someone else is doing that they're getting opportunities and I'm not. Because if you're holding on to other people get opportunities and you don't, then guess what? You'll never get them. And you'll stay stuck in victimhood. So what's another one? Another one is, I'm just unlucky. This is what I do because I don't believe in excuses and I set boundaries. One of my internal boundaries is as with my clients and my friends, I'm not here to wallow in your misery with you. I'm here to escort you out of it. And so if you continue to stay in your misery, in your hood of victims, in that victim stance, then most chances are, well, for me, I'm not going to be around you. I just won't. And sometimes you may wonder why people are always unavailable for you, they ghost you or something like that. It's probably because you are standing in victimhood and you're making excuses. And you know what that does? That makes other people uncomfortable around you. They feel like they have to say something to lift you up, or they don't know what to say at all. So they'll end up just not being around you because you have placed yourself in a position of victimhood within the drama triangle. And here's another one. People always take advantage of me. Well, people take advantage of you because you haven't learned how to set boundaries. Another thing about journaling is it helps you to identify your value and your worth so that when someone wants you to do something to take advantage of you, then you have the power inside of you to say no. And that's why it's important to journal. Whenever you get in a situation where you feel like someone wants you to do something that you're not comfortable with, they may be trying to take advantage of you. So what do? You figure out what's causing them to feel like they can take advantage of you so you can fix that. And you can no longer stand in the position of victimhood when they think they're going to take advantage of you. Because a persecutor within the drama triangle will take advantage of you. They have this sense. It's called a victim sense. And they know who they can use and who they can manipulate because that's what persecutors do. Persecutors have their own issues that need to be worked out. Everyone within this model has some childhood trauma that they have not resolved. And they have no idea how those behaviors are showing up in their lives as adults. The dysfunctional behaviors will show up in one of the three positions within the drama triangle. And what I'm helping you to do is to help you to identify those things so you can begin to set the right boundaries and you know what to do in order to set the right boundaries. And that's by using different journaling styles. Because a lot of times people will tell us, you know what, you got to set a boundary with that person. And you're like, yeah. Then that person leaves and you're like, but how? I tried to set a boundary. Oh, I thought I set a boundary. Oh, I did set a boundary. Then that probably wasn't a healthy boundary. That's what I'm helping you to do. I'm helping you to identify the healthy boundaries versus the unhealthy boundaries, because the healthy boundaries are the ones that are going to give you the respect and the honor that you need for the boundaries that you set. I can't change. It's too hard. What's too hard? Change? Do you know how many people are changing every day? Every day we change. We change our clothes. We change our underwear. We change our socks. We change everything. Realize that you are already changing. You're in the habit of changing. And so it's not hard, is it? And the other thing is when you try to change too much, that can be overwhelming. One small step at a time. God gives us a lamp at our feet, which means we can only see one step at a time with that lamp. It's not a huge lamp. It's a small flicker of light, like a candlelight. And we trust him for every move that we make. And if we want to make small steps, we say, Lord, I just want to take a small steps toward change. That's it. And he will give you the power that you need in order to do that. So that's just an excuse that it's too hard. It's hard for everybody, but we do it anyway because it's for our own best interest. If you want to grow, then you got to change. And you can't be stuck in saying it's too hard. If it's too hard, then start to journal why it's so hard. There's a specific journaling style that is called proprioceptive that really helps you to get deep into answering that question. It's like taking going into a mine, and you have an excavation light over on your head, and you only see that one light at a time, and you can start to identify all the things that are hard, and then tackling each one that's hard, and before you know it, it's not hard anymore. And so we've got to stop saying we can't do something because it's too hard, because that's only excuse, and it's putting you in the middle of the drama train, well, at least on the edge, on one of the points. So think about that, all right? And here's another one. I would succeed if others didn't hold me back. Who's holding you back? That's just an excuse. Anytime anyone hears you say you would succeed, but others are holding you back, trust me, there's no respect there. Because you don't have the power within yourself to step up to the plate and make things happen. When you are a victim, then someone has hurt you. When you are in victimhood, you're allowing yourself to stay hurt in a situation. Now, I will tell you, if you're ever in a position where you feel like you got to make this excuse, then I want you to journal it. And I want you to really think about it, and I want you to think about your surroundings, because most chances are people aren't really paying attention and you're not getting the support that you need. If you really want support in these areas, then you change the excuse to a statement of desire. And that's what's going to get you out of victimhood. It's going to get you out of the drama triangle, and it's going to help you to move forward and to grow in the areas where you need to grow. So now let's take a look at some examples of what you can use instead of those, because those different excuses that I just gave you, they're just masking deeper wounds, deeper fears, and they're not allowing you to bring those things to the surface. So let's look at some of the things that you can say instead, okay? So I can't help it. That's just how I am. Now that's the first excuse we talked about, right? So how can you reframe that? How do you reframe it? Well, let me give you an example. What small step could I take today to grow beyond this pattern? Because you see, saying just the way that I'm just the way that I am, that's a self-defeating pattern. And if you want to break a pattern, then you first have to identify the pattern. And then you can journal the reframed question so that you can begin to find out what you can do to make sure that it's just not who you are. It's not who you are. You don't stay where you are because that's just who you are. You identify where you are, you recognize it, and you grow. You create a plan to grow. So that's the reframing. Do you want to try another one? Here's another one. No one ever supports me. That's an excuse, right? Well, let's reframe that. Who has offered support in the past, and how can I ask for help now? Do you see how that opens up the whole world of possibilities for you? Now, as you're journaling and you start identifying people who haven't been there for you in the past, you're making excuses again, and you're deflecting, right? And you're staying stuck in the hood. We do not want to stay in victimhood. We want to reframe that victim status. We want to reframe the excuse that's preventing us from moving forward. And how do we do that? By making sure we increase our level of self-awareness, by identifying those self-defeating patterns so we can move forward. That's what I call reframing, and that is stepping outside of the drama triangle. Don't find yourself a victim within that, because that's just dysfunctional, and it's based on some patterns that we've had for our past. And you know, some of those patterns are because we've heard so many people say them in the past, and that worked for them. Because guess what? There was a rescuer to come and rescue them, and they started to rely on that rescuer. They became addicted to the rescuer, so they never do any work themselves. That's what happens when you stay within that drama triangle. It's dysfunctional, it's self-defeating, and it's toxic. And we never move forward unless we step out of that. And that's why I wrote this book. I'm telling you, you got to get the book. You got to be a part of this journaling workshop. You got to watch these podcasts, because, honey, I am telling you some real stuff that I've learned over the years. I would not lie to you. This is serious stuff that I've learned throughout my life to get out of my victimhood, to get out of the drama triangle, to realize that my childhood traumas hadn't been resolved. And I was exhibiting all these behaviors that put me smack dab right in the middle of the drama triangle. And I couldn't do that anymore. And I said, something's got to give, and I got to do something about it. And that came from me. It came from me making sure I wasn't continuing to make excuses, deflecting that pain onto somebody else, or that outcome on somebody else. Because whatever outcome I get in my life is based on me. Whether you're a victim, how you handle that victim stance that you're in because you're a victim, it's understandable, granted, but how do you get out of it? But a lot of times, if we stay within that victimhood, then we're never, ever going to grow. So the choice is yours. What are you going to do? Are you going to stay in victimhood? You going to stay in the hood? Or are you going to move outside of the drama triangle and start growing? So here's another one for you. It's not my fault. They made me do it. And we talked about that kid, the gang of people who were doing stuff, and all of a sudden you get caught, but you didn't do it. You didn't do it. Well, here's the way to reframe that. What part of this situation can I take ownership of to feel more empowered? Wow. Here you are showing ownership, taking ownership. Stop making excuses. Take responsibility for your part in something. Because had your part not have been a part of it, would it have happened without you or not? Only you can answer that. So take some time to think about those things. So I want you to journal, right? I want you to pull out your pen and paper like I asked you to bring it at the beginning. And I want you to create a reframing for the next different excuses that I've given you. Are you ready? So here's one. People always take advantage of me. Why is that? Can you reframe that question? Reframe. People always take advantage of me. And then here's a big one for you to do, because I kind of hit home really hard on this one. I can't change. It's too hard. How do you reframe that? And here's another one I want you to reframe. Just one more. And that is, I would succeed if others didn't hold me back. How do you reframe that one? So there you have it. You have a couple of scenarios where I've helped you to understand excuses. I've helped you to understand the difference between being a victim, and standing in the hood, in victimhood. I've given you some examples of the excuses that people use, and they don't even realize that it puts them in victimhood. And I want you to be able to reframe those statements and make sure that these are not statements that you use, because they are self-defeating patterns, and they're toxic, and they're unhelpful, and they're unproductive for you. They're not going to get you anywhere. I've also talked to you about my book, Triangulation, and it's about how to identify dysfunctional patterns in your relationships so that you can move forward. And I've also talked to you about my journaling course that's coming up. All the things I talked to you about are going to help you to increase your level of self-awareness. Not only the drama triangle model that I shared with you, but also the Johari Window, where you start to understand that there are things about yourself that you don't know, but other people do. Such a revelation to be able to identify the things about yourself within that Johari model that you didn't even know about yourself, and you can begin to take some action towards healing and growing as a result of that. So I just want to say thank you for listening. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section or shoot me an email at theboundariescoach. That's with 2 E's, theboundariescoach@gmail.com. And I would love to hear how this has worked for you as you answer these questions and how they provided you with some new revelations as to the difference between being a victim, being in victimhood, making excuses, and getting your power back. Make sure you subscribe and you like and you share, because you know there's someone that needs to hear this information. And wouldn't be a shame if you miss this because you didn't subscribe, you missed an episode, and it was something that you really need to hear. I'm so thankful that you listened to this, and I pray and hope that it has given you some insight and you are able to move forward and grow. This is Pamela Burdick, your boundaries coach. Let's talk boundaries.